Mourners line the street, numbering in the thousands. Diana touched the lives of so many in her 36 years, and people of all backgrounds take her loss heavily.
In a stunning development that has sent shockwaves through royal circles, Queen Camilla has reportedly made the unprecedented decision to directly challenge the late Queen Elizabeth's final wishes regarding Princess Diana's legacy. This shocking move has united Diana's sons, Prince William and Prince Harry, in outrage despite their ongoing estrangement. Palace insiders reveal that both princes are furious at their stepmother's actions, creating a family crisis that threatens to undermine King Charles's efforts to project stability in his reign. What exactly has Camilla done that has so angered Diana's sons, and why would she risk such a controversial stance? The royal directive ignored. According to sources with direct knowledge of the situation, before her death, Queen Elizabeth left specific instructions regarding several royal residences, collections, and heirlooms that had connections to Princess Diana. These instructions included provisions for preserving Diana's personal effects, maintaining certain memorials, and ensuring her grandchildren would have access to items that belonged to their mother. The late Queen was extremely thorough in her planning, revealed one former palace official. She understood that Diana's legacy remained a sensitive topic and wanted to ensure everything was handled with appropriate respect after her passing. Among these directives was the stipulation that Diana's former apartments at Kensington Palace would be preserved in their historical context, with certain rooms maintained as they were during her residence there. Additionally, specific jewelry pieces that had been worn by Diana and returned to the royal collection were to be reserved for use by Kate, Princess of Wales, and eventually, Princess Charlotte. However, palace insiders claim that Camilla has systematically begun dismantling these arrangements, beginning with the redecoration of spaces in Kensington Palace that were specifically covered by Elizabeth's directives. Camilla has made it clear she wants a clean slate, said one royal household source. She's instructed staff to refresh areas that were explicitly meant to be preserved, and has begun using jewelry pieces that were designated for Kate and Charlotte. William's measured fury. For Prince William, this situation represents a particularly difficult challenge. As heir to the throne, he's been careful to maintain public unity with his father and Camilla, while privately harboring strong feelings about his mother's legacy and how it should be honored. William is absolutely livid, but he's trapped in an impossible position, claimed one source close to the Prince of Wales. He can't publicly criticize the king's wife without creating a constitutional problem. But he views Camilla's actions as a direct attack on his mother's memory. According to multiple sources, William has attempted to address the issue through proper channels, requesting formal meetings with his father to discuss what he views as violations of his grandmother's wishes. These meetings have reportedly been tense, with Charles caught between loyalty to his wife and understanding his son's perspective. Most concerning to William, according to those familiar with his thinking, is what he perceives as Camilla's attempt to gradually erase Diana's presence from royal history. He allegedly told a close confidant, "First it's redecorating rooms, then it's wearing her jewelry. Soon it will be as if my mother never existed in these spaces at all." William's staff has reportedly been instructed to carefully document all changes being made that contradict Elizabeth's wishes, creating what one insider described as an accounting of grievances that may eventually require intervention from the Privy Council if the situation continues to deteriorate. Harry's public outrage. While William's response has been measured by his position and proximity, Prince Harry has reportedly been far more direct in his objections. From his home in California, Harry has allegedly sent a strongly worded private letter to both his father and Camilla expressing his disgust at what he views as disrespect, not only to his mother, but also to his grandmother's final wishes. Harry isn't constrained by the same considerations as William, explained one source familiar with both brothers. He's made it clear that if Camilla continues down this path, he's prepared to make the entire situation public, including specific details about Queen Elizabeth's directives. This threat of public exposure is particularly concerning to palace officials, who fear that Harry could use his media connections and platform to create another royal crisis, just as Charles has begun to stabilize his reign. The specific mention of Queen Elizabeth's wishes adds another dimension, as the late monarch remains deeply revered by the British public. According to those close to Harry, he views this situation as validation of concerns he has expressed for years about Camilla's influence and intentions. One friend reported that Harry said, "This is exactly what I warned everyone about. The moment she had the power, she began using it to erase my mother. It's vindication in the worst possible way." The items in dispute. At the center of this royal conflict are several specific items and spaces that hold deep significance in Diana's story. Palace sources have identified several key points of contention. Diana's former apartment at Kensington Palace, which Camilla has allegedly begun modernizing, despite directives that certain rooms be preserved in their historical state. The Spencer tiara, which Diana wore on her wedding day. Though technically owned by the Spencer family, arrangements had been made for it to be displayed in a royal collection dedicated to Diana's memory. A collection of sapphire jewelry that matched Diana's famous engagement ring, now worn by Kate. Queen Elizabeth had designated these pieces for Charlotte when she comes of age. Personal correspondence between Diana and Queen Elizabeth, which was to remain sealed until William and Harry mutually agreed to its release. Camilla has reportedly requested access to these letters. A suite at Sandringham that Diana had decorated and used when the family spent Christmas there, which Camilla has allegedly converted into a new space for her own grandchildren. These might seem like small things to outsiders, but they represent physical connections to Diana that her sons value deeply, explained one former royal household member. By changing or claiming these spaces and items, Camilla is effectively overriding Diana's presence in royal history. Charles caught in the middle for King Charles. This situation represents a painful dilemma that forces him to choose between his wife and his sons. Sources close to the monarch describe him as deeply distressed by the conflict, particularly as it involves honoring the wishes of his late mother, while also supporting his current wife. Charles genuinely wants to heal his family, but he's caught between irreconcilable positions, said one longtime royal advisor. Camilla feels she has earned the right to establish herself fully as queen without Diana's shadow constantly looming, while William and Harry feel their mother's memory is being deliberately diminished. The king has reportedly attempted to broker a compromise, suggesting that certain items and spaces could be preserved as Elizabeth wished, while others could be updated or repurposed. However, this middle ground approach has satisfied neither side, with Camilla reportedly insisting on her prerogatives as queen and the princes standing firm on respecting their grandmother's explicit wishes. Most concerning for Charles is how this conflict might affect his relationship with William, whose support is essential for the stability of the monarchy. One source claimed to have overheard William telling his father, "You're putting me in an impossible position. I cannot and will not stand by while my mother's memory is erased from our family history." The Queen's detailed instructions. What makes this situation particularly problematic is the reportedly explicit nature of Queen Elizabeth's instructions. According to those familiar with the documents, Elizabeth left detailed guidance rather than vague suggestions, having anticipated potential tensions over Diana's legacy. The late Queen was extremely precise in her directives, explained one former palace official. She specified exactly which items were to be preserved, which spaces were to be maintained, and how Diana should be represented in family histories and exhibitions. There's very little room for interpretation. Elizabeth's foresight on this matter reflects her deep understanding of the complexities surrounding Diana's place in royal history. Having witnessed the public and private aftermath of Diana's death and the complicated integration of Camilla into the royal family, the late Queen apparently sought to establish clear boundaries that would prevent exactly the type of conflict currently unfolding. Most significantly, Elizabeth allegedly included a personal letter to Charles, emphasizing the importance of honoring these wishes as part of maintaining public trust in the monarchy. According to those who have seen this letter, Elizabeth specifically noted that respecting Diana's legacy was essential for William and Harry's continued support of the institution. The United Brothers. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of this royal drama is how it has temporarily bridged the well-documented rift between William and Harry. Sources close to both princes report that they have been in regular contact regarding Camilla's actions, setting aside their other differences to present a unified front on this specific issue. Diana remains the one thing that can still unite them instantly, observed one longtime family friend. Whatever their disagreements about Everything else, they are absolutely aligned when it comes to protecting their mother's memory and legacy. This unexpected alliance has reportedly taken the palace by surprise, as officials had become accustomed to managing William and Harry as separate entities with different concerns. The prospect of them working in tandem on this issue presents a formidable challenge to Camilla's position, and Charles's attempt to balance competing interests. According to one source, William and Harry recently held a video call specifically to coordinate their response to Camilla's actions. While they continue to differ on many issues, including Harry's public criticisms of the institution, they have agreed to stand together in insisting that Queen Elizabeth's wishes regarding their mother be honored without compromise. Public perception at stake. Beyond the personal dimensions of this conflict lies the broader question of public perception. Royal analysts note that Diana remains an enormously popular figure in public memory, while Camilla has worked for decades to overcome initial public resistance to her relationship with Charles and her eventual position as queen. This is potentially disastrous from a public relations perspective, noted one royal commentator. If the public perceives Camilla as disrespecting Diana's memory or overriding Queen Elizabeth's wishes, it could undo years of careful image rehabilitation. Early indications suggest the public is largely sympathetic to William and Harry's position. Social media reactions to rumors of the dispute have been overwhelmingly supportive of Diana's sons, with many commenters expressing dismay at what they view as Camilla's overreach. For a monarchy still adjusting to the transition from Elizabeth's 70-year reign to Charles's leadership, this family conflict represents a significant challenge to the narrative of stability and continuity that palace officials have been carefully constructing.
If you look at the coronation footage as the king and queen leave the thrones and head for the exit of Westminster Abbey on the coronation Saturday, you'll see that everyone bows and curtsies to the king, and no one moves a limb, a muscle, when Camilla passes. And that was because they were angry with Camilla. Camilla brought 20 Parker Bowleses to the coronation. There were 4 Middletons. All the people that helped Camilla get the crown on her head were excluded from that coronation, and they were furious. And not only that, Kate and William were angry too. And that anger, of course, Harry was angry, that anger went right through that small part of the congregation by the throne, by the centre of Westminster Abbey.
Princess Kate's refusal to curtsy to Queen Camilla during a recent public event has become a focal point of royal watchers and media alike, triggering a wave of speculation about what might be going on behind the closed doors of the British royal family. This incident, while seemingly minor, has brought to light the complexities of royal protocol, the relationships between senior royals, and the public's fascination with even the smallest gestures within the monarchy. For centuries, the British royal family has been steeped in tradition, with every move, gesture, and word often carrying significant weight. The act of curtsying, in particular, is more than just a polite gesture. It is a deeply symbolic act of respect and acknowledgement of rank within the royal hierarchy. The sight of Princess Kate, the wife of the future king, choosing not to curtsy to the current queen consort, was therefore a moment loaded with potential meaning. Observers at the event noted that as the royal family gathered, there was a palpable tension in the air. All eyes were on Kate as she approached Queen Camilla. Traditionally, as the Princess of Wales, Kate would be expected to show deference to Camilla, who, as queen consort, holds a higher rank. However, instead of the customary curtsy, Kate merely nodded politely before continuing on her way. The deviation from protocol was subtle, but in the world of royalty, where every gesture is scrutinized, it was enough to set off a flurry of rumors and discussions. Some insiders suggest that Kate's decision may have been influenced by a series of recent events that have strained her relationship with Camilla. It's no secret that the royal family has faced numerous challenges over the years, from the death of Princess Diana to the ongoing struggles with public perception and the media. These challenges have, at times, created rifts between different members of the family, and it's possible that these tensions are now playing out in public view. One potential source of tension could be the differing approaches Kate and Camilla have taken toward their royal duties. Kate, known for her modern approach and emphasis on mental health and children's issues, has become a beloved figure in the UK and beyond. Her calm demeanor and dedication to her role have won her widespread praise, particularly among the younger generation of royal watchers. On the other hand, Camilla's journey to becoming Queen Consort has been fraught with challenges, including her long and controversial relationship with King Charles, which was initially met with public skepticism. Over time, Camilla has worked hard to carve out her own role within the monarchy, focusing on issues such as domestic violence and literacy. Despite their different approaches, both women are united by their commitment to the monarchy and their families. However, the recent incident suggests that there may be underlying differences in how they view their roles and each other. Some sources close to the royal family have hinted that there may have been disagreements over how certain royal duties should be handled or how public appearances should be managed, leading to a build-up of tension that finally surfaced in this public moment. This isn't the first time that the British royal family has found itself at the center of public scrutiny due to interpersonal dynamics. The relationship between Queen Elizabeth II and Princess Diana, for example, was often portrayed as complex, with Diana's popularity and modern approach sometimes clashing with the traditionalism of the monarchy. Similarly, the relationship between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle and the rest of the royal family has been a source of intense media interest and public debate, particularly after the couple's decision to step back from their royal duties and the subsequent revelations about their experiences within the family. In many ways, the monarchy's public image is shaped as much by these personal relationships as by official duties and public engagements. The British public, and indeed people around the world, have a deep fascination with the royal family, viewing them not just as leaders, but as symbols of continuity, tradition, and national identity. As such, any sign of discord or deviation from the norm within the family is often magnified, leading to intense speculation and debate. The incident involving Kate and Camilla has also highlighted the challenges that come with navigating the complex world of royal protocol. While the rules and traditions of the monarchy are designed to maintain order and respect, they can also be a source of tension, particularly when personal feelings come into play. In this case, Kate's decision not to curtsy may have been a way of asserting her own identity and independence within the rigid structure of the royal family. The British royal family, with all its grandeur and tradition, is often seen as a symbol of continuity and stability in a rapidly changing world. Yet incidents like the one involving Princess Kate and Queen Camilla reveal the human side of this storied institution, where personal relationships and emotions intersect with the demands of duty and protocol. The refusal to curtsy might seem like a small act, but in the context of royal life, it carries significant weight, shedding light on the complexities and challenges that come with being part of such a unique and scrutinized family. As the public and media continue to speculate on the meaning behind this moment, it serves as a reminder that the royals, despite their elevated status, are not immune to the intricacies of personal dynamics. The balance between upholding tradition and navigating modern relationships is a delicate one, and this incident underscores the ongoing evolution of the monarchy as it seeks to remain relevant in the 21st century. In the coming years, as Kate and other younger royals take on more prominent roles, moments like these will likely shape how they are perceived both within the family and by the public. Will they adhere strictly to tradition, or will they seek to redefine their roles in a way that reflects their own values and the changing expectations of society? The answer to this question will play a crucial role in determining the future of the monarchy. For now, this incident stands as a moment of reflection, not just for the royal family, but for all who follow their story. It highlights the ongoing tension between personal feelings and public expectations, a theme that has run through the history of the British monarchy. As the world watches how this situation unfolds, it will be interesting to see how the royal family navigates this latest challenge and what it reveals about the future direction of the institution. Ultimately, the story of the British royal family is one of endurance, adaptation, and the constant balancing act between tradition and change. In a shocking turn of events, King Charles III has stepped down from his role as the monarch of the British royal family. This unprecedented move has sent shockwaves through the United Kingdom and around the world. Camilla, Queen Consort, has reportedly been deeply affected by this development, with sources close to the palace describing her as being in tears. This decision marks a significant moment in British history, altering the future of the monarchy in ways that were previously unimaginable. The announcement came after a series of private meetings within the royal family, leading to the king's official abdication. The news of King Charles III stepping down as the monarch of the British royal family has reverberated across the globe, marking a historic moment in the centuries-old institution. This decision, which has taken many by surprise, was made following a series of private discussions within the royal family. The gravity of the situation is evident, as sources close to Buckingham Palace have revealed that Queen Consort Camilla has been deeply moved by the decision, with reports indicating that she has been brought to tears by the turn of events. King Charles' decision to abdicate has not only shaken the foundations of the monarchy, but has also left the public and royal watchers in a state of disbelief. After years of waiting in the wings, as the heir apparent, Charles ascended to the throne, following the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. His reign, though short, has been marked by attempts to modernize the monarchy and address the changing dynamics of British society. However, his decision to step down comes as a significant departure from royal tradition, where abdications are rare and often carry considerable implications. In the days leading up to the announcement, there were whispers of tension and uncertainty within the royal household. Insiders have suggested that Charles faced mounting pressure, both from within the family and from external forces, to reconsider his role. The king's health, public opinion, and the future of the monarchy were reportedly central to these discussions. Despite the challenges, many believed that Charles would continue to fulfill his duties as monarch. However, the final decision to abdicate indicates the weight of the considerations he had to bear. Camilla, who has stood by Charles's side for decades, is said to have been particularly affected by the decision. As Queen Consort, she has faced her own share of public scrutiny and challenges. The prospect of Charles stepping down from the throne has added a personal dimension to the situation, amplifying the emotional toll it has taken on her. Those close to the couple have described Camilla as being visibly distressed, struggling to come to terms with the new reality of their lives. Her tears are a testament to the profound impact this decision has had on those within the royal circle. The implications of King Charles's abdication are vast and complex. For the royal family, it means a sudden shift in the line of succession, with Prince William now poised to take on the role of king sooner than anticipated. This change is likely to have far-reaching consequences for the monarchy, as William's vision for the future may differ significantly from that of his father. The British public, too, is grappling with the news as they come to terms with the idea of another transition in leadership so soon after the passing of Queen Elizabeth. Internationally, the decision has prompted reactions from world leaders and royal families across the globe. The British monarchy has long been a symbol of continuity and stability, and the abdication of a sitting monarch is a rare and significant event. Allies and observers alike are now closely watching the developments in the UK, seeking to understand the motivations behind Charles's decision and what it means for the future of one of the world's most well-known institutions. In the wake of the announcement, the media has been abuzz with speculation and analysis. Commentators are dissecting the potential reasons behind the king's abdication, from personal health concerns to the desire to pave the way for a younger generation of leadership. The role of public opinion cannot be ignored, as Charles's popularity has fluctuated over the years. Some have suggested that the king may have felt that stepping aside was in the best interest of the monarchy, allowing Prince William and his wife, Catherine, to take on more prominent roles. The abdication of King Charles III has thrown the royal family and the nation into a state of reflection and uncertainty. This decision, rooted in a complex mix of personal, familial, and public considerations, is unprecedented in the modern era. While the monarchy has weathered many storms, this particular event signifies a turning point that may redefine the future of the British royal institution. In the weeks leading up to the abdication, there were subtle signs that all was not well within the royal household. Close observers noted a shift in Charles's public demeanor. His appearances, once marked by a sense of duty and tradition, had become more subdued. Behind the palace walls, the weight of the crown seemed to be taking a toll on him. Although no official statements were made at the time, there were whispers of the king grappling with the demands of his role, compounded by concerns over his health and the increasingly complex political landscape in the UK. Reports have surfaced indicating that King Charles sought counsel from his closest advisors, including senior members of the royal family and trusted confidants. The discussions were said to be intense and fraught with emotion, as Charles weighed the responsibilities of his position against the realities of his personal circumstances. It is believed that he considered all possible outcomes, including the impact his decision would have on the monarchy, his family, and the nation. Ultimately, it seems that the king reached the conclusion that stepping down was the most responsible and dignified course of action. For Queen Consort Camilla, this period has been particularly challenging. Known for her resilience and quiet strength, she has always supported Charles through the ups and downs of public life. However, the prospect of him relinquishing the throne has reportedly shaken her deeply.
You didn't believe she was dead?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone.
For decades, the world believed they knew the truth about Princess Diana's tragic death. A terrible car accident in Paris, caused by a drunk driver and pursuing paparazzi. The people's princess, taken too soon in a senseless tragedy. But now, a shocking revelation has turned that narrative upside down, leaving the British royal family and the entire world reeling. What could possibly be more devastating than the original tragedy? The truth behind what really happened that fateful night in Paris is more unimaginable than anyone could have suspected. The shocking revelation. On a rainy Tuesday morning in London, crowds gathered outside the Old Bailey, Britain's central criminal court, as rumors swirled about a secret trial that had been conducted behind closed doors. Security was unprecedented, with armed officers creating a perimeter around the building and all electronic devices banned from the proceedings. When the Lord Chief Justice emerged to address the waiting press, his face was ashen. "Today, I must deliver news of such gravity that it will forever alter our understanding of recent British history," he began, his voice wavering slightly. "Following a trial conducted with the highest security protocols, evidence has been presented that has led to the conviction of a member of the royal family in connection with the death of Diana, Princess of Wales." The crowd fell silent as the impossible words hung in the air. The justice continued. "Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, has been found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder in the death of his mother. The sentence is life imprisonment without possibility of parole." The world stood still. How could this possibly be true? Diana's youngest son, who had been just 12 years old when she died, convicted of orchestrating her murder. It defied comprehension. The evidence uncovered. As details emerged in the following days, the story became even more bizarre and disturbing. The case had begun unraveling 3 years earlier, when a former MI6 agent, terminally ill with pancreatic cancer, had come forward with a deathbed confession. He claimed to have knowledge of a long-term operation that had been hidden from all but the highest levels of British intelligence. According to recently declassified documents, the agent had provided investigators with encrypted files that contained surveillance recordings, financial transactions, and communication logs dating back to 1997. Most disturbing were a series of coded messages allegedly sent from a young Harry to unknown operatives in Paris in the weeks before Diana's death. Forensic accountants had traced a series of complex financial transactions through offshore accounts that appeared to link the young prince to payments made to several individuals who were in Paris the night Diana died. Computer experts testified that the encryption used in these communications matched protocols that would have only been known to someone with access to royal security briefings. Perhaps most damning was newly enhanced security footage from the Ritz Hotel in Paris that appeared to show Harry, disguised and wearing a prosthetic facial feature, meeting with Henri Paul, the driver who would later crash the car carrying Diana and Dodi Fayed. Facial recognition experts testified with 99.7% certainty that despite the disguise, the individual was Harry. The impossible timeline. But how could a 12-year-old boy possibly have orchestrated such a complex plot? This question dominated headlines worldwide as royal experts and criminal psychologists attempted to make sense of the conviction. The prosecution's case, portions of which were now being leaked to the press, presented a timeline that seemed impossible. They alleged that Harry, far from being the traumatized child the world had sympathized with, had been a calculating prodigy who harbored deep resentment toward his mother for her relationship with Dodi Fayed and her increasingly independent stance from the royal family. Psychologists brought in by the prosecution painted a picture of a disturbed child who, despite his youth, had access to resources and connections that most adults could never imagine. They claimed he had been diagnosed with a rare condition that accelerated cognitive development while dampening emotional and moral reasoning, essentially creating a child with the intellectual capabilities of an adult, but without fully developed empathy. The defense had vehemently rejected this characterization, bringing their own experts who testified that such a psychological profile was pure fiction, and that the prosecution's timeline was physically impossible. They pointed out that Harry had been at Balmoral Castle in Scotland with his father and brother when Diana died, a fact confirmed by numerous royal staff and security personnel. The royal family's response. As the details of the conviction became public, Buckingham Palace remained in lockdown. King Charles III, Harry's father, had reportedly collapsed upon hearing the verdict and was under medical supervision. Prince William, now heir to the throne, had cancelled all public appearances indefinitely. After 3 days of silence, the palace finally issued a brief statement. The royal family acknowledges the verdict delivered by the court. This is a time of profound shock and grief as we attempt to understand these disturbing allegations. We ask for privacy as we process these events and determine appropriate next steps. No further statements will be made at this time. The statement was notable for what it didn't say. There was no defense of Harry, no questioning of the verdict, no expression of support for the convicted prince. This omission led to immediate speculation that the royal family had prior knowledge of the investigation, or perhaps even believed in Harry's guilt. Meghan, Duchess of Sussex, who had been in California with the couple's children during the secret trial, was reportedly under protection at an undisclosed location. Sources close to her claim she was utterly devastated and in complete disbelief, having had no knowledge of the trial until the verdict was announced. Public disbelief and conspiracy theories. The public reaction worldwide was one of stunned disbelief, followed quickly by skepticism. How could such a massive conspiracy have remained hidden for decades? How could a child have orchestrated such a complex plot? And why would Harry have wanted his beloved mother dead? Social media exploded with conspiracy theories, many suggesting that Harry was being framed, perhaps by elements within the royal family or British intelligence, who feared what might be revealed in his upcoming memoir. Others pointed to his recent estrangement from the royal family as potential motivation for a coordinated attack on his character and freedom. Supporters gathered outside Kensington Palace with signs reading "Free Harry" and "Truth for Diana." In the United States, where Harry had relocated in recent years, political figures called for international oversight of the case, questioning Britain's judicial process and the secrecy surrounding the trial. Prominent legal experts expressed grave concerns about the conviction. A secret trial, with evidence never subjected to public scrutiny, resulting in a verdict that defies logical timeline analysis. These are hallmarks of a judicial travesty, not justice, remarked one Harvard law professor. The confession that changed everything. Just as public opinion was coalescing around the belief that Harry had been framed, the case took another stunning turn. 1 week after the verdict was announced, Harry requested a television interview from his holding cell at an undisclosed maximum security facility. In a broadcast that would become the most watched television event in history, Harry appeared on screen looking haggard but composed. What followed was a 40-minute monologue that left viewers worldwide speechless. "The truth about my mother's death has been hidden for too long," he began. "While I maintain my innocence regarding the specific charges, there are aspects of that night that the world deserves to know." He then proceeded to outline a narrative so complex and disturbing that it challenged everything the public thought they knew about the royal family. He claimed that while he had not orchestrated his mother's death, he had discovered evidence years later suggesting involvement by other members of the royal family and British intelligence. According to Harry, his recent estrangement from royal duties and move to America had been motivated not by personal preference, but by his discovery of this evidence. "I couldn't continue to represent an institution that I believed was complicit in my mother's death," he stated. Most shocking was his assertion that he had been willing to accept conviction to protect his children. "There are forces at work that have made it clear to me that my children would be in danger if I revealed what I know," he said, his voice breaking. "This conviction, while based on fabricated evidence, serves their purpose of discrediting me while allowing me to protect those I love by maintaining certain secrets." He concluded with words that sent chills through viewers. "I say goodbye to freedom, knowing that someday the full truth will emerge. Until then, I accept this sentence as the price for my children's safety." The aftermath and unanswered questions. In the days following Harry's televised statement, the case became even more convoluted. Legal experts questioned how a defendant who maintained his innocence could be convicted in a fair trial. Intelligence analysts debated whether Harry's claims about threats to his children were credible or a desperate attempt to rationalize a legitimate conviction. The royal family remained silent, neither confirming nor denying Harry's implications of their involvement in Diana's death. This silence only fueled further speculation, with public opinion increasingly turning against the monarchy as questions mounted. Parliament convened an emergency session to discuss the constitutional implications of a convicted murderer in the line of succession, though far down the list. Legal scholars debated whether the conviction could be challenged in international courts, given the extraordinary nature of the secret trial. Meanwhile, Harry was transferred to an undisclosed prison facility, reportedly under constant surveillance to prevent any possibility of self-harm. Visitors were strictly prohibited, with even his legal team having limited access. The evidence disappears. 3 months after Harry's conviction, another shocking development occurred. The Ministry of Justice announced that the evidence used to convict Harry had been stolen during a sophisticated breach of government security systems. All digital records, including the enhanced security footage from the Ritz Hotel and the financial transaction records, had been completely wiped from government servers. The physical evidence, including original documents provided by the MI6 whistleblower, had disappeared from a supposedly impenetrable evidence vault. With the evidence gone, legal experts suggested that Harry's conviction should be overturned or at least reconsidered. However, the Lord Chief Justice issued a statement indicating that the verdict would stand as the evidence had been duly considered by the court before its disappearance. This extraordinary series of events only deepened public skepticism about the case. If the evidence was compelling enough to convict a royal prince of matricide, how could it have been so poorly protected? Was the theft a convenient way to prevent further scrutiny of potentially fabricated evidence? A nation divided, a family destroyed. As months passed, Britain found itself deeply divided. Polls showed that approximately half the population believed Harry was innocent and had been framed, while others accepted his guilt but questioned the circumstances surrounding his confession. A smaller percentage believed in his complete guilt and felt justice had been served for Diana. The monarchy's popularity plummeted to historic lows. King Charles, already advanced in age, appeared increasingly frail in his rare public appearances. There were whispers in political circles about the viability of the monarchy itself, with Republican sentiment growing stronger than at any time in modern British history. Prince William, now effectively the face of the monarchy's future, found himself in an impossible position, unable to defend his brother without potentially implicating his family in Diana's death, yet viewed with suspicion by a public that wondered about his own knowledge of the truth. Meghan and the children remained in the United States under tight security. Sources reported that all communication with Harry was monitored, with their children unable to have private conversations with their father. The documentary that shook the world. 1 year after Harry's conviction, a documentary was released simultaneously in multiple countries to avoid British legal injunctions. Titled The Prince's Tragedy, it featured interviews with former royal security personnel, intelligence officers, and forensic experts who systematically dismantled the timeline of the prosecution's case. Most compelling was testimony from Harry's former protection officers, who provided irrefutable evidence that he had been continuously under their supervision at Balmoral during the critical periods when he was allegedly in Paris. They risked prosecution themselves by revealing classified duty logs and security protocols that had previously been withheld from the defense. The documentary also introduced a facial recognition expert who demonstrated that the technology used to identify Harry in the Paris footage had been manipulated. Using the original algorithm rather than the modified version presented in court, the expert showed that the individual in the footage bore only a 23% similarity to Harry, far below the threshold for identification. Perhaps most damning was an interview with a former MI6 operations director who suggested that the entire case against Harry had been manufactured to prevent him from revealing what he had discovered about Diana's death. When a prince threatens to expose state secrets, conventional methods of silencing him are impossible, the intelligence veteran noted. Character assassination and false imprisonment become the only options. The final goodbye. 2 years into Harry's sentence, as legal challenges to his conviction gained momentum and public pressure for a retrial mounted, another shocking announcement came from the prison authorities. Prince Harry had been found dead in his cell, apparently by suicide. According to the brief official statement, he had left a note reading simply, "The truth dies with me. Keep them safe." No autopsy results were released, and his body was quickly cremated before independent examination could be arranged. Meghan released a statement questioning the suicide ruling and demanding an international investigation, but her voice was largely drowned out by the wave of memorials and retrospectives that followed Harry's death. The narrative quickly shifted from questions about his conviction to reflections on his troubled life. In a final twist that seemed to confirm the darkest suspicions, all pending legal challenges to Harry's conviction were administratively closed within days of his death. The judge who had been reviewing the appeal request recused himself without explanation and subsequently left the country. The legacy of doubt. Today, years after these extraordinary events, the truth about Princess Diana's death and her son's conviction remains obscured. The official record states that Harry was guilty of conspiring in his mother's murder and later took his own life in prison. But millions around the world remain convinced that this narrative conceals a far more disturbing reality. Annual vigils are held outside Buckingham Palace on the anniversary of both Diana's and Harry's deaths. Conspiracy theories continue to flourish, books and documentaries regularly revisit the case, and justice for Harry remains a rallying cry for those who believe in his innocence. The monarchy has never fully recovered from the scandal. While it continues to function, its mystique and public support have been permanently damaged. King Charles passed away not long after his son, with many attributing his decline to the stress of these events. William now reigns as a king forever shadowed by questions about his brother's fate and his own knowledge of the truth. Meghan and the children remain in America, where they live under assumed names, rarely seen in public. On the anniversary of Harry's death each year, an anonymous donor places lilies, Diana's favorite flower, on a bench in a London park with a card that reads simply, "The truth never dies. Only goodbye for now, not forever." For a public that once mourned a princess, then watched her sons grow up under the weight of that tragedy, the story's final chapter seems cruelly fitting. More questions than answers, more shadows than light, and a family destroyed by secrets that may never be fully revealed.
They were talking, and she was telling the author that unfortunately her husband was doing well, but he won't do what he's told. Now,
for more than 50 years, people have watched the love story of King Charles and Queen Camilla. Their relationship has been talked about in books, news, and even in secret conversations behind palace walls. But now, something unexpected has happened. Queen Camilla has finally spoken the truth about why she left King Charles. For so long, the world believed they were meant to be together. But things were not as perfect as they seemed. There were hidden problems, painful moments, and secrets that no one knew. Now, after all these years, the truth is out. Something so shocking that it could change everything we thought we knew about the royal family. Inside the royal marriage, speculations and reported tensions. For years, everyone believed that King Charles and Queen Camilla had finally found peace after all the scandals of the past. They stayed together, even when the world doubted them. But behind those grand palace walls, life wasn't the fairy tale people imagined. As time passed, rumors started to spread. Some said they had grown apart. Others whispered that they were just too different. They had lived so long fighting for their love, but once they got it, they realized life together wasn't what they dreamed. Camilla, who once found comfort in Charles's presence, slowly began to feel like a stranger in her own home. Charles wasn't just her husband anymore. He was the king, and that changed everything. His royal duties took most of his time. His heart and mind were always focused on his people, on the environment, or on political matters. Somewhere along the way, Camilla felt left out, almost invisible. She never truly loved the royal protocols. The endless rules, the fake smiles, and the constant public life weren't easy for her. Camilla always loved the countryside, her dogs, and quiet family dinners. But as queen, she was expected to be on display all the time, smiling at people she didn't even know. Slowly, this life began to drain her. On the other hand, Charles was becoming harder to reach. He was deeply absorbed in his work. Even when they were together, his mind seemed to be somewhere else. He grew more demanding, palace insiders claimed. Some days, he was moody and cold. Other days, he was simply too tired to care. Camilla often found herself sitting in silence, wondering where the man she once loved had gone. As the years went by, age caught up with both of them. Their health wasn't the same. Priorities shifted. What once felt like a passionate love story now felt like a heavy burden. Camilla began asking herself, is this what I gave up everything for? The bombshell. Camilla's shocking revelation. Then came the moment no one expected. The shocking revelation that would change everything. After 55 long years of love, heartbreak, and sacrifice, Queen Camilla finally spoke her truth. In a private but emotional interview, Camilla shared the real reason behind her decision to walk away. Her words were simple but powerful. She said, "I realize love is not enough when respect is lost." Those words hit hard. It wasn't anger or hate. It was just the painful truth of a woman who had given everything and gotten nothing in return. Camilla explained how, over the years, their emotional connection slowly faded away. They stopped talking about the things that mattered. There was no more laughter, no more deep conversations. What remained was a cold silence between them. They were living together, but they were worlds apart. She spoke about how Charles had changed. His only focus now was the crown. Every decision he made was about the monarchy, not their marriage. She understood the weight of his duty, but she couldn't help but feel forgotten. She was there, but no one really saw her anymore, not even him. Camilla said something that broke many hearts. "I was a queen, but I felt like a prisoner," she confessed. Imagine wearing the crown, sitting on the throne, but feeling completely alone. That was Camilla's reality. What hurt the most was living in the shadow of Princess Diana. No matter what Camilla did, she was always compared to Diana. The people loved Diana, and in their eyes, Camilla was still the other woman. Even after becoming queen, she couldn't escape Diana's memory. She was always second, first to Diana and then to the royal family itself. In the end, Camilla said she chose peace, not scandal. She wasn't leaving to cause drama or to write a tell-all book. She just wanted to find herself again. She wanted to breathe, to live the rest of her life without pretending. "I am leaving not because I hate him, but because I can't find myself here anymore," she whispered. The royal family's reaction. The news spread like wildfire. Reporters camped outside Buckingham Palace. Cameras flashed. Everyone was waiting for the royal family to speak. But all they got was silence. The palace released a short statement calling it a private family matter. No details, no emotions, just cold royal words. But their silence spoke louder than any speech. Insiders claimed Prince William was furious. After everything, after all the damage control, this was another scandal they didn't need. William always carried the burden of holding the family together, and now this? It felt like another piece of the royal family was falling apart. Prince Harry, who had already distanced himself from the royals, wasn't surprised. To him, this was just proof that royal life was never about love or happiness. It was always about duty, image, and sacrifice. Some sources even said Harry felt a little sorry for Camilla. After all, he knew what it felt like to live in that golden cage. The media didn't waste a second. Headlines screamed, "The end of a royal love story," and "Camilla breaks free from the palace." Social media exploded with opinions. Some people felt sorry for Camilla. For the first time, they saw her as a woman, not a villain. Others blamed her, calling it karma for what happened to Diana. The internet was divided. But one thing was clear. This wasn't just a family issue anymore. It had become a global drama. What this means for King Charles and the monarchy. The impact on King Charles was immediate and deep. People started asking, how can a man rule a kingdom when he can't even save his own marriage? His image, already fragile, took another hit. The whispers about the future of the monarchy grew louder. Would Charles step down sooner than expected? Would this scandal force him to pass the throne to William earlier? These questions filled newspapers and TV screens across the world. Experts said this divorce was bigger than just two people separating. It was about the very heart of the monarchy. In today's world, where people question old traditions, this felt like another reason to doubt the royal family's future. Some even said, if the king can't hold his own home together, how can he hold a nation together? Others wondered if this was a sign that the monarchy itself was slowly dying, stuck in the past, and unable to survive in the modern world. Camilla's life after the divorce. What's next? And then, there was Camilla. What happens to a queen who chooses to walk away? Reports say Camilla has no plans to stay in the public eye. She is done with royal life. Done with the endless events, the fake smiles, and the heavy crown. All she wants now is a quiet life. Some insiders shared that Camilla might write a memoir, not to attack anyone, but to tell her story. The real story. After years of being painted as the villain, she finally wants people to hear her side. to know the woman behind the crown, but others say she just wants peace. She dreams of returning to her countryside home, surrounded by her dogs, her horses, and the people she truly loves. No cameras, no titles, just Camilla. In the end, this wasn't just a royal divorce. It was the story of a woman who gave everything, her love, her youth, her reputation, only to realize it wasn't enough. It was a love story that couldn't survive the weight of the crown. Camilla's words, "I was a queen, but I felt like a prisoner," will stay with people for a long time. Because behind all the gold, jewels, and titles, she was just a woman who wanted to be loved, seen, and respected. And maybe, in the end, that's all any of us really want. The truth about Queen Camilla and King Charles has finally been revealed, and it changes everything. After 55 years, the real story is out, one that was hidden behind palace walls for so long. But this might only be the beginning. Who knows what other secrets still remain?
King Charles III has been diagnosed with cancer. Buckingham Palace just confirming the news in a statement, but not saying which type of cancer.
Something serious is happening behind the palace doors. Queen Camilla has shared news that no one saw coming. She has been diagnosed with a dangerous illness. For years, she has been by King Charles's side, always strong, always smiling. But now she faces a health battle that could change everything. People close to the royal family are worried. Whispers are spreading. What does this mean for her? What does this mean for the royal family? Questions are everywhere, but answers are few. Now, the truth is coming out, and it's more shocking than anyone expected. Queen Camilla's deadly diagnosis. Now, let's talk about the heartbreaking reason Queen Camilla is making headlines all around the world. This news has shocked not only the UK, but also millions of royal fans across the globe. No one expected this, and honestly, it's hard to even believe. Queen Camilla has shared that she has been diagnosed with multiple myeloma, a rare and deadly type of blood cancer. It's the kind of disease most people don't know much about until someone close to them is affected. Sadly, that someone, in this case, is Queen Camilla herself. It is believed that Camilla first started feeling unwell a few months ago. She had been experiencing constant back pain, unusual tiredness, and even weight loss. At first, she thought maybe it was just stress or age catching up. After all, being part of the royal family comes with a lot of pressure, and she's been attending countless royal events. But things didn't get better. In fact, they got worse. She found it hard to stand for long hours during events. Even smiling and waving seemed tiring. That's when the doctors ran some tests. After weeks of checkups and endless hospital visits, the royal doctors finally gave her the heartbreaking news. She had multiple myeloma. Camilla chose to share this news with the world in the most graceful way. Instead of hiding it, she sat down for an emotional interview with a royal reporter. With a trembling voice, but with her usual calmness, she shared her diagnosis. She wanted people to hear it from her, not from rumors. She also released an official statement through Buckingham Palace, where she thanked everyone for their love and support. Camilla admitted in the interview that hearing the words, "You have cancer," changed her world forever. She said she felt like the ground had been pulled from under her feet. But she also shared that she is determined to fight this battle with all her strength. Understanding multiple myeloma. The silent killer. Many people might not know what multiple myeloma is. It is a type of blood cancer that affects the plasma cells found in our bone marrow. These cells are supposed to help us fight infections. But when they turn cancerous, they start damaging the body from the inside. The symptoms can be really hard to notice at first. They include tiredness, back pain, frequent infections, and weak bones. Most people, just like Camilla, think it's normal aging or stress. But sadly, this disease keeps growing silently inside the body until it's too late. Multiple myeloma is very dangerous because it doesn't just attack one part of the body. It spreads and affects the bones, kidneys, and even the immune system. That's why doctors call it a deadly disease. The survival rates depend on how early the cancer is caught. Some people live for several years with treatment, while others may have a much shorter time. Sadly, there is no permanent cure for multiple myeloma yet. The treatments available, like chemotherapy, radiation, and stem cell transplants, only help to slow it down. Doctors say that this cancer is more common in people above the age of 65, which makes Camilla's case even more worrying. Many women her age don't even realize they have it until it becomes very serious. Experts from across the world have already started reacting to Camilla's diagnosis, calling it a brave step for her to share this news publicly. They hope it will raise awareness about this deadly disease and help others catch it early. The impact on Queen Camilla's royal duties. Now, as you can imagine, this diagnosis has not just affected Camilla's health, but also her role as the Queen Consort. Being a senior royal is not easy. There are hundreds of public appearances, charity events, and royal tours every year. It's a full-time job that demands both physical and emotional strength. Sources close to the palace have said that Camilla is already stepping back from many of her royal duties. She has canceled several public appearances, and palace insiders say this is just the beginning. Doctors have advised her to rest and focus on her treatment, which will involve chemotherapy and other aggressive treatments. King Charles is said to be absolutely heartbroken by the news. He has been by Camilla's side every step of the way. In fact, royal insiders say that the king is even considering cutting back on his own royal duties so he can spend more time with Camilla during this tough time. What's even more worrying is that this comes at a time when King Charles himself is battling his own health issues. As many of you already know, Charles was recently diagnosed with cancer too, though the palace hasn't shared what kind. This means that both the king and queen are now fighting serious health battles at the same time. Prince William and Kate Middleton are also said to be deeply worried. With both Charles and Camilla unwell, a lot of the royal responsibilities may now fall on William and Kate's shoulders. Prince Harry and Meghan Markle, though estranged from the royal family, have reportedly reached out privately to express their concern and support. There is growing speculation about what this means for the future of the monarchy. Will Charles and Camilla step back fully? Will Prince William need to step up sooner than expected? These are questions many people are asking right now. Camilla's personal message, a woman of strength and grace. In the middle of all this, Queen Camilla has shown incredible courage. In her interview, she spoke openly about her feelings and her plans for the future. She thanked everyone who had sent her letters, prayers, and good wishes. She also shared a very emotional message that touched many hearts. She said, "I have always believed in facing life's challenges with courage and grace. This is not an easy journey, but I know I am not alone. I have the love of my family, my husband, and the people of this country. For that, I am truly grateful." Camilla also made it clear that while she is going through treatment, she wants to spend more time with her children and grandchildren. She wants to focus on what truly matters: family, love, and making every moment count. At the same time, she said she will continue supporting the causes she deeply cares about, like women's health, domestic violence charities, and reading programs. But of course, everything will now depend on how she feels and what her doctors advise. She ended her message with a small but powerful request. She asked people to get regular checkups and never ignore the signs their bodies give them. She hopes her story will encourage others to take their health seriously. What this means for the future of the monarchy. Camilla's diagnosis has left many people wondering what the future holds for the British monarchy. With both the king and queen battling cancer, this is truly an uncertain time for the royal family. For centuries, the royal family has symbolized strength and stability. But now, the future feels shaky. There are talks in royal circles about the possibility of a regency, where Prince William might have to step in to perform the duties of the king if Charles becomes too unwell. This is not something that would happen overnight, but the fact that people are even talking about it shows just how serious the situation is. Some experts say that the royal family might never be the same after this. At the same time, many people feel a new sense of connection to the royal family. They see Camilla and Charles not just as royals, but as human beings, parents, grandparents, husband, and wife, facing the same fears and struggles as any other family. Public sentiment right now is mixed. Some people are sending endless love and prayers to Camilla. Others are quietly questioning what this means for the monarchy's future. Will people continue to support the royal family if their two most senior members are no longer able to lead? One thing is clear. The coming months will be crucial. The royal family will need to make some very difficult decisions. But for now, the most important thing is Camilla's health and well-being. Queen Camilla's diagnosis has left many in shock, and the future remains uncertain. As the royal family faces this difficult time, all eyes are on what happens next.